Welcome to Visual Knowledge. 3 reasons to love Niccolò Machiavelli. Now, Machiavelli was a philosopher, politician, and writer. He expressed ideas on power, immoral behaviour, fear, appearance of virtue, manipulation, and much, much more. So before explaining this theme of being a fox and a lion, you need to first understand that Machiavelli wrote The Prince. The distinction in this book is not how we live, but how one should live. In this handbook, it is for politically ambitious leaders, which advocates that it's more important to play the game than be morally good. Indeed, to continue the narrative bias of the book, it was about power and how to keep it. To understand the contrast of this book, think of the following. In Roman law, there is an underlying concept that you are supposed to have good faith and that you must always keep your word. Machiavelli disputes this premise. He feels you need to be a fox and a lion. You can see the lion as a metaphor for being strong, seeing the traps and crushing the competition, but the fox concept is more intriguing. So what does it mean to be the fox? On a practical level, a fox is a carnivore mammal of the dog family, but the allegory of the fox is someone that is sly, cunning, and can deceive. This is the context that Machiavelli is referring to. From his perspective, a prudent ruler can't keep his word, as it would be a disadvantage to his position. So according to Machiavelli, those that act cunning like a fox do the best, and therefore Machiavelli would advocate, without a doubt, being a master of deception. So the fox gives the impression of kindness and compassion, perhaps to serve as a distraction, but in the spirit of the lion, they will deal with their opponents ferociously and appropriately to maintain power. The premise here is that humans are wicked as they don't keep their word. Therefore, the human condition creates a circumstance that you need to react to. This is why Machiavelli teaches us how not to be good. From his perspective, these characteristics are an essential part of survival in the game of power. Maybe part of this perspective was driven by personal experience. In his life, Machiavelli was falsely accused of conspiracy. The impact of this was to be tortured and thrown in prison. This indeed was the precursor to the writing of The Prince. I feel that Machiavelli shows us the mirror of darkness in a world governed by a bureaucratic spider's web that conceals this darkness. However, it is important to understand that this darkness is very much among us. To explain this concept, let's create an example that has 2 ludicrous premises. Number 1, you have the authority to terminate human life legally. And number 2, there is a human being that you know is about to become a serial killer. Now what would you do? Would you do nothing? If you would use your power to terminate that human life, then you have followed the philosophy that the end justifies the means. Some would say it would be unethical to terminate a life, and many would agree with that assertion. However, the logic is that if nothing was done, many innocent lives would be taken. Therefore, an immoral action is justified through the context, hence the term, the end justifies the means. This can be defined in 2 phases. It's not about personal morality, it's about the greater good of society. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Subscribe, like, and share with Facebook friends.